Welcome to Beyond Flow. My name is Tammy and this is Maria, and we're here again with you to take just a few moments to talk about how we can achieve peace and be a part of maybe shifting the energy in the world right now. How can we do that individually? We'll be back. Okay, so we're back and just wanted to remind everybody to subscribe to the channel. We're so happy to have you here watching. If you want to share it with friends and family, people that you think might enjoy participating, we would love it. We love the comments and support, and just wanted to remind you that that makes a big difference, and we're hoping for more and more people to be part of this. So, kind of a heavy time, right, in the world. It's been that way for a long time, but it just feels like it's getting heavier and heavier. And we are facing wars all around the world, wars that don't seem to have an end, violence. And then on top of it, even where those physical battles aren't happening, we have the hate speech and the negativity being spewed out all over, and it's just almost to the point where sometimes I just feel like I just want to go to work and go home and hide. It's just it's a heaviness. Participating in this anger and violence and hatred it's overwhelming, and we thought we could maybe just talk a little bit about what can we do to shift that.
Yeah, this came from a conversation with a friend that is she was asking, so how do we if you talk to one side of the one side, they're going to feel one way. If you talk to the other side, and there's always one thing is in common, is that we're always blaming somebody. We're always blaming, but this person did that, so
or this country did that,
or this country did this, or this group of people did this, so now we're gonna fight back with this. And it was such an incredible conversation, and I don't want to go too much into details of what that conversation, because I would like to, if anything, I would like to have her and have that conversation here with her. But I think the main thing is that I don't think we live in a country. I think we live in a world where division and hatred and it's almost like we're afraid to, it's almost like it feels at times like, what side are you? And if you're not,
and you have to choose.
Yeah, then you have to choose. And if you support one type of ideology, then it's almost like, well, then you're immediately this. And that's on a political aspect. Then we go into the religious aspect. And then we go into the human aspect, because what is happening in the world, it's almost, I don't think in the times that I've lived, I've experienced this.
Yeah.
Which, then again, like we said in the other episode, we know that the pressure means that we have the biggest, as big as the challenge, as big as the blessing that comes. Yeah. So as we go through all of this, but what I personally wanted to say, I don't think this is so much of a podcast. I think for me it was just, I wanted to, because of what I hear people come to the store going through, and the blaming of this and the blaming on the other side, and is that the change, no matter what you support, no matter if you support the right, the left, the middle, or nothing, it's within. that change, that human dignity that we have to have. And this is the conversation I was having with her.
Yeah.
Because we were not that we were fighting, but it was a very intentional conversation.
Yeah.
And I cannot relate to her because she's living that, and it's not here in this country. So,
Yeah.
But she tells me, so how do we end a war? How do we end it? And I said, well, the war has to end within us. It's not a group of people. It's not a leader that is going to make that decision for us. It's us that will make that decision for them. And how do we change that? It starts within every single one of us.
Yeah.
And I really do hope that, I've had friendships very dearly to my heart that have ended because we have different beliefs. And I don't think that is what true, when I've never had, well, if you think this way and you think that way, now we're gonna, if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat now, no, I never saw you different. I never saw you this because you think this way. But I never was looked at either because I think not differently. It's just I'm in a different alignment when it comes to certain things. And it's almost like there's a fear in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where then we have to go within. We have to choose love. Absolutely. Because I think the world, and every time I listen to, astrologers, and when I listen to that I trust, the world, it's gonna get a little heavier until it gets a little lighter. So, we don't have to experience more heaviness and more hatred and more division if we truly choose to just go within and change that in our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I actually very beautifully said. I was feeling about this subject too, that the day we stop choosing a villain is the day we'll find peace. And because in that conversation and others, it's like there's always someone that's right and someone that's wrong. There's always a villain. There's always someone to blame. There's always someone to go after. But they're bad and they're wrong. And so how do we not defend ourselves, or how do we not take them down? That's like happening everywhere. It's playing out in such violence in war that it's like the momentum is so strong. It's so intense. And we think about, well, what can we do? Like, if a battle is so intense and there's so much happening, how do you just stop? That then the thought is, well, then you'll just get crushed and the bad guy's going to win, right? If we could just stop and realize how ridiculous we're behaving, how ridiculous, first of all of it is, but how ridiculous it is to see each other, one's a villain and one's not. We're all the same. We're all one. We are all connected. And it is time for us to put our foot down in our own life, in our own neighborhood, in our own family, in our own friendships. I've
soul.
tried to do it even with, things like still befriending somebody in social media that might have a different opinion, trying to be a conscious, rather than a battle, rather than take them down and point out every time something that's said. If that's the case, I'd rather not, follow them. But to still be me and be a what serves, I feel, loving comments, and try to kill them with kindness. Try to be a conscious changer, because I think when we start seeing the person that is next door, the person that lives on the other neighborhood, the person that, serves, the person that looks different, has a different skin color, speaks differently,
loves differently.
Exactly. When we truly put our foot down and say, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to love you for who you are. I'm going to accept you for who you are. It's gotten thrown around that accepting people for who they are means you believe in the things they believe in, or you are going to live the same path. No, you're accepting people for who they are so that we can create a new world that is love, that changes vibration, and we can do it. The astrologers do talk about things maybe getting heavier, but there's also the truth is that we can raise our vibration in a way where we can calm those waters. We can. No, nothing's written in stone what tomorrow's going to be. It's not already decided. We are creating our reality. We are living the reality that we're choosing. And so when two people experience the same event and see it through different eyes, it's the truth. We're living different realities, right? So that means we're choosing how we are seeing things. And if something is said to you or a behavior is happening that you're witnessing and it's full of hatred and it's full of unkindness, ask yourself and ask your heart, is that really my thoughts and how I feel? Or am I falling into just assuming that that is how it is?
Yeah.
Let's be responsible for who we are, for how we react, how we communicate. What are we doing to be a light? And I really think that things can quickly shift because pretty soon, if we all begin to behave that way and we all begin to stop taking sides, those at the top that are pushing negativity and war and cruelty, they're going to stop having so much support, and it will begin to eventually shift. It's hard to believe, but I know it's true. I know it. I was thinking about how following your heart is so powerful in our the way that we behave. And I was thinking about how, because I do this all the time with the dog, when I throw the ball for the dog, there is a joy that raises in his body that I can see it. I can see he's like, throw the ball again, brings it back to me, throw it again, brings it back to me, throw it again. And I get excited doing it, even if it's 1,000 degrees outside. But it's so much fun to be part of the joy that he's experiencing. All of a sudden, I feel it. And isn't it true when you see a little kid laughing? When you see, I love those posts, but when you see little kids laughing, you cannot help but start laughing yourself, right? So we feel how others feel. So when someone is saying degrading words, when someone is downright mean, and someone is mistreating others, when someone is an example of hatred, check your heart. Does that make you feel good? Does that make you feel the way you want to feel? I don't think it does. I just don't. You can decide that you want to fight and be militant and all of those things, but if you go inside each of us, maybe that can be the influence to that. I think we will begin to shift what we're following and what we're participating in, and that will make a difference in the global. I know it.
Absolutely. And I think that's the, I mean, for me, I think you said everything that I had in my mind to say. I think it's always check your heart,
Yeah.
in whatever it is that you're in alignment with. That it for me, like I always say, I follow all religions, all spiritual paths, as long as they don't promote death or hatred. And you don't have to, even in the political now arena, just there's so much of that. And so I think that this is a time for the collective, the human heart, the human consciousness to come together. And look, we all want to have peace. We all want to live in a world where, peace is the norm, not the other way around. So I think that that is, if anything, because then there's a part of us that until it doesn't affect us, if it doesn't affect you, then you don't need to really look too much within, or you don't have to
Right.
really do so much spiritual work, or any work, because it doesn't affect you. But the thing is that we're entering times, and we are living times where absolutely everything, it's going to affect us. So my greatest desire is that we can really tap into, number one, having peace. How do you create peace on a global way? Well, you start having peace with the person next to you,
Yeah.
and you forgive, and you operate from that place of unconditional true love. And I hope that that can create a domino effect in the planet, because the world, there is no way, it doesn't matter how much faith you have, if you treat others without love and without respect, it's not going to be able to sustain.
Right.
Doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter how much power you have. These are times where we have to, that the only thing that will save us, and I always say this, is the most sacred space. It's not a temple, it's not a church. The most sacred space is not a yoga studio, it's not flow life. The most sacred space is your heart.
Yeah.
What we feel when we walk into these places, that energy, is exactly that. It's an extension of your heart.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So hopefully, if one thing I hope that we can get from this is that, let's just start working from that sacred space that is our hearts, and send all that vibration to the world, to the planet, because we need it. And just because a war is happening thousands of miles away from us, that doesn't mean that we don't have an internal and an inner war. And that doesn't mean that we aren't experiencing what is,
Yeah.
the separation.
And we have a responsibility.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
do. We have a responsibility to tap into empathy, to compassion, to
Yes.
to the heart center, and behave differently. And it's worth trying, right?
Yes, absolutely.
If you haven't been doing it, make a shift in your life with the closest person next to you that you've had conflict with. Shift it and see how that has an effect, and see how much better you feel.
Yeah,
And it will
transform, and it will transform
Yeah.
the world. So
work. Yeah.
that is my biggest prayer, is that we can tap into that sacred space and change it.
Love it.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.